Exactly how much better are Green Berets than the SEALs?
No SEAL has ever had to rescue us. They call us to come get them.
First thing, Jocko, failed as a SEAL leader on the battlefield.
The SEALs could never be an equivalent to the unit.
Delta versus SEAL Team 6. Who's better and why?
So why do we need SEAL Team 6? Why do we have a second place unit?
It doesn't take long talking to a SEAL before you realize there's not a lot of depth to them.
Right.
But when you get to like a Green Beret or a Delta.
I mean, that's why you joined the Navy, right? Because you're a little fluid to begin with.
If we're being honest, for sure.
I would.
That's for sure the driving factor.
I mean, SEALs, I heard, what's this jackass named Rob O'Neill. I'm going to call him that too because he's a turd.
Which one do you find to be the more complete, dominant unit and why?
So I'm like, you guys on YouTube, seeing all these Army SF Tier 1 Green Berets just dunking on the SEALs left and right, hitting guys up. Hey, come talk to me. What's going on here? Do you guys hate the SEALs? Are you jealous? What the hell's going on? So I finally found a dude who talked to me. Stand by. I got to ask the question, why are these Army guys, SF guys, jealous of the Navy SEALs? Talk to me, man.
So jealous is a strong word, right? And I wouldn't say that we're jealous, right?
You're totally jello. You're lime green jello and you can't even admit it to yourself.
There's a delusion as far as what the public sees and what us military guys that, have served in uniform know to be true.
Natural disasters are the new reality, folks. From the Maui fires to Hurricane Helene, we are seeing catastrophic disasters take on entire towns in 24 hours with minimal warning, resulting in a lack of basic resources. I get it. We're all wired to think it won't happen to me, and then in a blink, you're in survival mode. Being prepared in advance is your best defense against the unexpected, and we clearly can't rely on our government. The Wellness Company Emergency Kits completely remove the gatekeeper and subside panic by providing you with the personalized mini pharmacy in the convenience of your own home. Bacterial infections such as staph, bite wounds, UTIs, strep, respiratory infections. You no longer have to be at the mercy of someone else to help you. You keep the fire extinguisher handy in case of a fire, right? It's probably a good idea to have some basic medicines in a safe place in the event you need them. Same mindset, different product. Getting an emergency kit is fully digital, all from the convenience of your couch. You fill out the intake form. A pharmacist reviews and approves it. And then you receive the kit in 2 weeks. The medical board approved guidebook crafted by Dr. Peter McCullough tells you exactly what to do. This is preparedness simplified. Invest in your family's self-managed insurance plan. Use code Jameson and save $30 and get free shipping. U.S. residents only. That is TWC Health/Jameson. Thank you to our sponsor.
Like we all knew the reality of it. But once I got out and I hit social media and I started to do a lot of mentorship calls and a little bit of mentoring here and there with this next generation, try to get them into SOF and try to get them prepared for special operation, there was a common denominator there.
We're a SEAL team. We're here to get you out.
Oh, yeah, dangerous. Feeling dangerous. Oh, yeah.
And it's that they all think that some of the bigger Navy SEALs that are out there were like God's gift to mankind, like your Rob O'Neill, your Marcus Luttrell. And I'm like, wait a minute, like, hold on. That's not the case at all. And it wasn't out of envy, but it was coming from a place of, hey, check it out. I want you guys to hit, the SEAL teams, the Green Berets, PJs or whatever special ops unit that you want to go to with a frame of reference that makes sense. When you look at, Marcus Luttrell and the lone survivor debacle, and now this dude is being paraded as a hero. I'm like, dude, he left 3 dudes on a mountain and preserved his life. I don't want these young men that I'm speaking with, that I'm mentoring, to think that that's the norm. So I took to social media and I voiced my opinion, and it was just backlash. Oh, you're jealous this, you're jealous that. And I'm like, that's the case at all.
I'm messing with you. I had to, you got to get people engaged with this.
I got you.
Look at your videos. You said eliminate SEAL Team 6. I'm like, wow, you're going to hurt a lot of people's feelings. I mean, everybody thinks SEAL Team 6 because they got a brand. Clearly, in Delta, you just don't hear anything about it. I mean, I can't think of one thing where I go, oh, that was a Delta mission, because you just don't hear about it. And the running meme, when they get finished with BUDS, they get a journalism degree. And you've got guys like the SEAL, who is the Foreign Legion guy. All he does is fuck up, fall forward, and charge $8,000 a month. And you see guys that are giving business advice that weren't even LPO of a platoon. You're going, how does this work exactly? I mean, I get it. You got to have your drift. But that's when you look at your videos and your comment section. Everybody's like, bro, you're just jealous. You're just jealous you want a SEAL. Just read a comment on Navy SEAL. They keep fucking up left and right. They just fuck up often. Lots of good dudes, no doubt. But what are you seeing when you came hard at the SEALs for the drama, the fuck ups, the embarrassments, the cowboy shit. What kind of backlash you getting?
Oh, I get a shit ton of backlash, and I welcome it, right? Because I let them know straight off the street, like hard conversations need to be had when it comes to this, right? Because as it relates to special operations and the military as a whole, there's no frame of reference where I, as a Green Beret or anybody else, would want to do what the SEALs are currently doing, which is glorifying failure. There's a lot of those dudes, like that's all they do. When you look at John Chapman, right, going way back to Rob O'Neill, then you look at Marcus Luttrell, Lone Survivor. Then you go to the most recent one with Osama bin Laden. All these guys are taking these failures and they're finding ways to glorify them, to make themselves look hero and to profit from them. So when I stepped on the scene and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not how it should be done. That's not the norm, right? And everyone behind closed doors agree, right? To include some SEAL buddies that I have, they all agreed. But the civilians out there that don't know any better, they took to the comment section and they see it as, hey, you're jealous because of this, you're jealous because of that. And then I'll post a question to him. I'm like, hey, would you want your son to join the SEAL teams as it currently stands, knowing all the fucked up shit that takes place behind the scene? And just recently, 2 SEALs died that didn't have to because of fuckery that was going on with the leadership, right? And their lack of an ability to do the right thing and check dudes' equipment and rehearse and do all that stuff. So it's like, these are the things that have to be addressed if we want to change that culture, if we want to, keep Americans from fucking dying, to be honest with you. And that's the missions that I've personally have undertaken. And there's some SEALs out there that'll, compliment that and that'll hint at, hey, what Rob O'Neill is doing is wrong. Or, hey, Marcus Luttrell is not really a hero. He ran from fucking combat. Like there's a few out there that'll hint on it, but they're still afraid to go against the brand that is currently feeding them on social media, right? So they don't want to go against that brand and receive the wrath of the SEAL team community. But for me, I have a greater mission. I have a greater purpose. And my mission statement is to coach, teach, and mentor the next generation of special operations soldiers. And that comes in several different forms. And I've been pretty vocal about this on social media. Hey, if Green Berets were out there fucking up, I would be talking about them too, right? Like when Tonga went down, I was the first to say, hey, this was a fucked up mission, right? The leadership was messed up, X, Y, and Z. Like I laid it all out. But no one is exempt from scrutiny, especially when you're on social media saying and doing dumb shit.
Yeah, when guys get out there, they, everybody's an expert all of a sudden once you spend, an E6 and the SEAL teams in particular. If you say this is fucked up, this went poorly, some people are going to get their feelings hurt, but the reality is still the reality. The scoreboard dictates reality, right? Results are in, you fucked up here. You shouldn't get rewarded or highlighted for failure. And at some stage in the game, they got a clean house because you got about 5,000 Green Berets, 2,500 SEALs. And all we hear about SEALs and every mission's a SEAL mission. You know about Delta mission, a Green Beret mission. You just don't. And just anybody who pays enough attention will go, it is odd. Write a lot of books. Where does this end? What do you see is it going to change? I guess is the bigger question.
No, so I don't think it's going to change, man. I don't think it's going to change anytime soon, mainly because the brand has become too big, right? Like I compare the SEAL teams to politicians, right? Once money gets involved in a politician's life, that politician is corrupt, absolutely, right? Because he's willing to do anything for money. And once the SEAL teams develop a method to where they can profit from, the missions that they have been on or haven't been on, then there stands like a bigger issue there, because now it becomes, hey, what can I do as a SEAL to get a book deal, to get a movie deal, to get a TV show, right? And that's when guys go freaking haywire and they lose that initial reason for wanting to be a SEAL to begin with, right? And I'll be the first to admit it, man. Like throughout my 15 years in special operations, like everything that was within my power to do to keep me from working with SEALs, I did, right? As a senior dude on a team, we would get, RFS or requests for SEALs to get attached to us. As the 18 Charlie, as the demo guy, like my team sergeant would ask for his feedback. I was like, nah, man, I don't want anything to do with those dudes, right? As a team sergeant, same concept. I didn't want anything to do with those dudes, right? And it's the culture and it's the perception that they've created through being fuck ups, right? You can get as mad as you want, but I'm not speaking for everybody here, but I'm speaking for the dudes that were around me. Like, we all knew that to be true, right? And several ODAs felt the same way. But when it comes to anybody voicing their opinion because they're afraid of the backlash that they might get, they don't say it, right? Because it's one of those things everybody preach, oh, community, right? We don't talk about each other in the community. When I got to social media and I'm like, hey, we need to have these hard conversations, because I'm getting a lot of phone calls from these young men that think that, hey, Marcus Luttrell is a hero. Hey, Rob O'Neill is a hero. And they're joining the military because of those dudes. And I'm like, well, if that's your hero, who's to say you're not going to join the military and do the same fucked up shit that he did? Those guys couldn't fathom the fact that, oh, wait, that's not correct. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, there's no way kids believe that. I'm like, bro, like, guys believe everything they see on social media nowadays, especially the guys that don't have a father figure or no mentorship whatsoever. So when I'm feeling those calls and I'm like, holy shit, like, if those guys join the military and they think that's the norm, then they're going to do that in combat and they're going to get more Americans killed.
Something you said in one of the videos you did was eliminate SEAL Team 6. And so I went in your comments and I looked at it and I said, one all-star team, bro. Delta takes everybody. You have a maritime component. Keep it real simple. Everybody gets together. You've got the best of the best training, mentored or followed or designed by the SAS. Why do you need to have another tier 1 unit? Oh, you get a bunch of infighting and everybody's fighting for money and missions. And your comments actually were like, bro, you just don't get it. I'm like, but where else do you need a second tier B team, right? Just have one all-star team. They draw from everywhere. Delta already does. So why not have that? And people like lost their fucking minds. You're like you said, their wife is a whore. I'm like, whoa. Just think about it. What's the best for everybody involved would be one group. You're all part of Delta and go on. So you guys should check that video out from Jay, because you got to think about it. What is the best? You want people fighting for a mission like Marcus Luttrell, lone survivor. That was a Marine mission. The 160th wouldn't bring him in because they said we only take special forces. And they had the AO. We didn't need those guys. Who knows what would have happened. But you realize that Marcus got all the rounds left. I mean, that was something I thought everybody knew until you look on social media. They go, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, I heard that, 10 years ago from dudes that were there. They go, yeah, he didn't shoot a round. His magazines were full. I don't know if you heard that, Jay.
Oh, I've heard it. I got buddies that that work at this unit over here at Fort Bragg that could confirm that. I got third group dudes that I know and serve with that walked in to go get him that can confirm that, right? You got Marcus Luttrell himself on Anderson Cooper stating that I was a coward. I put my gun down at a war.
And I put my weapon down in a gunfight. So that pretty much makes me a coward.
Right? So essentially quitting right there. So he's saying it, and yet he is still on social media with a podcast called Team Never Quit. He's out there, giving interviews and doing podcasts and all this craziness. And I'm like, am I living in bizarre world? Like, when have this ever been accepted in our military, right? Like, how is this even happening right now? And it just blows my mind. And to those out there that are going to say, well, they were facing impossible odds and it was 4 against, however many. And to that, I'll say, man, like, we've all been in situations. I know my buddies and I, where it was just the two of us, fucking duking it out on the top of a mountain, and this took place and he did what he did and he survived and he just fucking went away. Like, you and I would not be having this conversation right now, right? Because I'm sure throughout our history, there's been instances like that before where guys escape death and now they're, living under a rock somewhere. But to come out here and influence other young men that are now going to join the SEAL teams, Green Berets, Air Force, MARSOC, and see that dude as an idol and think that what he did was fucking honorable, like, that's a spit in every veteran's face that has stood on a top of a mountain, on the side of a mountain, and has fought for his brother to his left and to his right, and probably lost their lives or still breathing right now, right? Like, that's a fucking spit in our face to say, hey, I let my buddies die. Now I'm writing books, I'm making movies, I'm doing podcasts, and that's a blueprint that you too should follow as a young man. Like, that shit fucking pisses me off. Like to the point where every chance I get to speak up about it, I do, because I don't think that's the standard. And I don't think any Navy SEAL out there should accept that as the standard. And the fact that no one is talking about it, with an exception of one or two here and there, goes to show me what that community is all about. And at the end of the day, perception is reality, right? If you're not telling that dude, hey, you're fucked up, but yet he's on all these bigger platforms talking about this lone survivor concept, and you guys are indulging in it so you can make a few bucks here and there, all you're doing is enabling his behavior, and you're also encouraging the younger generation to do the same. And that's not cool at all.
You know what I equate it to online? It's the guy goes to a strip club and he's putting out $1,000. And he's like, bro, she really likes me. He didn't want to face the reality that it's a fantasy. So I think a lot of people online are going, this fantasy of Marcus Luttrell or whoever, when you present that it's a pretend, it's not real, they don't want to end up the fantasy not being real. Again, like think about your strip club. Oh, she likes me. We're like, bro, you've been paying her. It's a fantasy. Quit living in the fantasy. Then he's pissed. I tell you, I see a lot of that online. I appreciate it. Go check Jay's channel out.